side, coupled with a brick, brew and a friend, bleed orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us, DDNVR. We are DNVR.
Welcome into the DNVR Broncos podcast on this terrific Tuesday. I'm your host, Zach Stevens, joined by my man, Andrew Mason, with the shades on. And before we hop in the show, I got to tell you about our presenting sponsor, MSU Denver Online, where over at MSU Denver Online, they put a dynamic education at your fingertips without forcing you to decide between earning a degree and living your life. MSU Denver provides rigorous and affordable online programs taught by professors who bring the real world into the classroom, which is so key when you're getting an education. You want to learn what you need to know after you graduate, not just something from a book. And over at MSU Denver, they do that. So check them out over at MSU Denver Online. My boy, Mace, how are you doing, my friend?
I've been better. I've been worse. I'm
Okay.
here.
Okay, it sounds like a February day.
I'm upright. I'm perpendicular to the ground, better than being parallel to the ground.
Wow,
you know?
I guess
go.
that is all right. Well, that's where we're starting today. I'm about to make you a lot happier with this news that came out. I guess you can call it news that came out over the past few days. I don't know what we're calling it. We're calling it Unfollow Gate, but we're looking at Kyler Murray. Our guy over at PHNX, Johnny Venerable, uncovered that Kyler Murray has unfollowed and scrubbed his entire social media presence with the Arizona Cardinals. That means he deleted all photos that he had with the Cardinals. He isn't following them anymore. And Mace, we've seen this happen in the past. I believe just a year ago, Deshaun Watson did this with the Houston Texans, and that's when everyone kind of thought, what's going on? And then we know what turned into that. He full-on wanted to be traded.
And then other stuff happened.
Exactly, which I don't expect to happen with Kyler at all. But are we going down this route with Kyler, Mace? Is Kyler Murray a legitimate possibility to be on the trade market, and should the Denver Broncos explore it?
I mean, he scrubbed a lot from his social media accounts, so there were a lot of posts that he scrubbed as well. So I would caution against reading too much into it. So everything I have to say is couched with if he is indeed interested in leaving. If he's interested in leaving Arizona, 2/3 of the league, including the Broncos, should be trying to get him.
Absolutely. 2/3 of the league, and definitely the Broncos should try to get him. But I am going to read into this because he is clearly trying to send some sort of message. Maybe the message is that he's upset that some of his coaches had to wait for a playoff bonus a couple of weeks later, which we know was the case with the Cardinals. Or maybe it's something bigger. Maybe he says, I don't believe in Cliff Kingsbury. I won out. You kept him when you shouldn't have after this collapse for another year in a row. I won out. Or he's just saying, I don't have enough control in the organization, and he's trying to pull an Aaron Rodgers. He's trying to tell the general manager, look, I want to have more say in who you draft, who you bring in free agency, because I view myself as a franchise quarterback, and that's the treatment franchise quarterbacks get. But I definitely think this was an intentional message by Kyler Murray to say something. Maybe it's 1%, maybe it's 100%, but right now is when you attack. If you're the Denver Broncos, you reach out to the Arizona Cardinals and say, what will it take to get done? And maybe they just see just enough of a chance that Kyler's going to leave that they take a huge offer.
You cultivate as many options as possible, right? I mean, just because Aaron Rodgers may be plan A doesn't mean you don't kick the tires. I mean, you don't explore, okay, what would it take to trade for Russell Wilson? What would it take to trade for Kyler Murray if he's available? You know, as has often been said, and for example, Edgar Kaiser said before trading for John Elway, as it turned out, this is America. Everything has a price. Everything can be bought and sold if you match the price.
Yep.
Right?
Exactly. So what is Kyler Murray's price right now? We're talking about a 24-year-old. He will be 25 once the season starts this year. So a 25-year-old former first-round pick that has flashed greatness over many years.
Looked like an MVP candidate before the Cardinals did the traditional Cliff Kingsbury fade out. Now,
And before he got hurt, he did get hurt this year.
He did get hurt. That's one thing. Like, I know there are people out there, and I put it out there and said, look, if Murray potentially wants to leave Arizona, of course you look into it if you're the Broncos. No, this shouldn't even be a question. And someone said, well, he's regressing. He played poorly coming back from injury this past year. Let's see what happens when he's healthy. I think there's more reason to believe that his fade down the stretch was a product of him not being all the way back, plus the habitual pattern of Cliff Kingsbury teams fading, which goes back to Texas Tech and goes back to when he had Patrick frickin' Mahomes as his quarterback at Texas Tech. I think these things are more in play. I don't think Kyler Murray is regressing as a player.
To your point, Mace, you know who else struggled coming back from injury this year? Russell Wilson.
Yes.
He really struggled, and I mean, he looked like Teddy Bridgewater out there for a couple of games that I got to watch Russell Wilson because he was still hampered by that injury. But Mace,
what happened to Teddy Bridgewater after his concussion? He wasn't the same, right?
Exactly.
He looked like Teddy Bridgewater light.
Yep.
Injuries do matter.
So to your point, in the first 8 weeks of the season, Kyler had 17 touchdowns to 7 interceptions.
Yep.
Pretty darn good. And that doesn't include the rushing, where he added 3 additional touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Then after he comes back from injury, he misses 5 weeks. He comes back in week 13. It looks like he has 7 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. That is concerning. Certainly, 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions is not what you want. 17 to 7 is certainly more along those lines. And when you look at what Kyler was able to do in those first 8 weeks when he had his full mobility, he's running for 30 yards, 39 yards, 21 yards, 59 yards, 20 yards. So he clearly is that dual threat on the ground. And this is a guy, like I said, Mace, he is a guy that is improving. His first year as a rookie, he threw for 64% completion, 3,700 yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. You'd be crazy not to take that from a rookie playing in their first season. That's a very good start. His second season, what does he do? He comes out, not only takes the team from a 5-10 record to then go 8-8. He improves the completion percentage. He has more passing yards. He has more passing touchdowns, and he has the same number of interceptions. 67% completion, 3,900 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. In his second year, he has already broke that 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio, showing great growth. And then, like I said, the first 8 games of this season, 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, flashing MVP. He was absolutely in that conversation. Again, breaks that 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. And then for the season, he still ends up pretty darn good. 69% completion. So again, he improves that completion percentage, takes the team to a 9-5 record under his start. So he's gone from 5-10-1 his rookie year, 8-8 his second year, 9-5 his third year guiding this team. That's huge. So from a winning standpoint, and you know I like quarterback wins, I love what he's doing. But then also completion percentage goes up every single year. Passing yards would have gone up if he would have played every single game this year. 24 touchdowns this year, 10 interceptions. He was on pace to have
yards per attempt went up.
Exactly.
So don't even focus on the gross yards.
Well, yards per game also went up. And so this is a guy who was set to have about 4,500 passing yards, over 30 touchdowns, probably around 15 interceptions. But he was set to just have a monster year.
Yeah, I mean the thing that went in the reverse this year, his sack rate climbed from where it was back in 2020. So that's one thing you're concerned about. But
better
again,
than his rookie year.
Yeah,
though.
It was better than his rookie year, but not as good as his second year. Mostly, he had, with the exception of ESPN QBR, which had him at 57.4 this year, was actually the lowest of his career. So if you focus on QBR, you could say, okay, there was some regression. There was some regression season to season. But again, take a look at what he was before the injury and what he was after the injury. So let's just take passer rating for example, right? First eight games of the season before he's hurt, triple-digit passer rating 6 times. After he comes back, triple-digit passer rating just twice in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, including the playoffs. So basically, he went from having a 100 or better passer rating 75% of the time to having a 100 or better passer rating about 29% of the time. Pardon me.
Right.
So basically, what he was, he kind of inverted after the injury. So an off season to get healthy. I think what we saw early in the season is more reflective of where Kyler Murray is going than where he was down the stretch, which is why I would give up 3 first-round picks for Kyler Murray.
At least 3 first-round picks. We're talking
There's no
about,
price too high for you.
There is no price too high
for quarterback.
For a stud quarterback.
Whenever we do these exercises, Zach, you always have the highest price point that you're willing to give up.
Of course, because if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a thing. We've seen that the past so many years, and now I'm giving up more than just 3 first-round picks. Look, last year I was willing, and I think we were all willing to give up 3 first-round picks for Aaron Rodgers, and that was with the hope that he would play, 3 to 5 more seasons? We were talking about before last season. Is that right? We're willing to give up 3 first-round picks now. Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. Russell Wilson, we'll talk about him as well. I would give up 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson. He's 9 years older than Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
We talked about this with Deshaun Watson 1 year ago before all of his other stuff came out. We would all be willing to give up 3 first-round picks because he's a 25-year-old superstar quarterback. Kyler Murray, he's 24 years old, going to be 25 this year. When you talk about his future, if he is wanting to play as long as he can, you're talking about at least 12 more great years, and then potentially stack on another 3 or 4 more years. And now people may say, well, he's 5'10", he's a skinny guy, he's small, he could suffer more injuries. That's true, but you're still at least talking about 10 years. 3 first-round picks is where you start this conversation.
I don't care that he's 5'10". I mean, I think height is overrated.
Some people do in this city.
I know they do. I care about the build. Like you'd like it if he was built a bit heavier so he could take the pounding. That's one thing I think you can justifiably be concerned about. The other thing is he has been very good. Do we know if he's going to be great? Is it possible that Kyler Murray could settle in as a very solid second-tier quarterback? And not the perennial top 6 elite guy. He could settle in as a quarterback from about 7 to 10 or 7 to 11.
And that's fair. I'm not sold on Kyler Murray being a superstar.
But let's say he settles in that second tier. Let's can we say that's the Dak Prescott zone, right?
Sure. Yep. The DP zone.
I would still trade 3 first-round picks for a guy in the Dak Prescott zone because that gives you a chance. You're not at the Mahomes-Allen level. But if you've got a quarterback who's in that first or second tier, and that's basically about 12 quarterbacks in total.
Yep.
Then you've got a shot.
You've got a shot, and on top of that, Mace, again, I don't know if Kyler Murray is Aaron Rodgers' age, if he's 38 right now, and you're looking at 3 more seasons with him, that's when I may pump the brakes and say, I'm not sure you do that. But you're going to give up a lot to get him. That is going to deplete your team a little bit. But then you're going to be able to rebuild that team around him in just 3 years from now. And I think you're still going to have a lot of success from what this team looks like now. You're going to have a lot of success with a Kyler Murray quarterback in the next 3 years. And then you get those draft picks back, and then you build the team for the next 7 years. So while it may be a lot to give up now, it's not a 3-year window you're looking at with Kyler. It's a 10, 15-year window. So 3 first-round picks. I mean, I joked about this when talking about trading for Russell Wilson earlier. I said, give up a first-round pick for every single year that he's going to play for you. With Kyler, I wouldn't go that far because you'd be giving up a monster amount, and also you just can't do it. But why I'd be open to 3 and some on top of that is it's a 10-year commitment.
And the other thing is the economics kind of add up as well, because let's say you gave up 3 first-round picks. Year 1, cost control. Last year of his rookie deal. Okay, cool. You know what? We'll take the savings. We'll spend it on the rest of the roster. Year 2, kind of in between, 5th-year option, right? And then year 3, the last year you don't have a first-round pick. That's when you'd probably have a big number. And then you just basically you're kind of bridging that gap a little bit. If you have the cap space and have a quarterback on cost control drink, then you can use the savings to basically fortify the roster in other ways. By the time you really start needing those first-round picks, because he'd be on a big deal, you'd have him.
Yep.
So it does kind of add up long-term. I know we're probably kind of in a fantasy zone here, but It's fun to dream for a day.
But
here's the question I have for you. Is Kyler Murray the right guy to run Nathaniel Hackett's offense? And my quick answer is, if Nathaniel Hackett is a good coach, he would adapt that offense for Kyler Murray.
Well, Nathaniel Hackett's already told us that that's what he would do. And so, yes, I absolutely believe that he would build an offense around him. And Michael Shane in the comments comes in with a great point and says that Kyler Murray would be hands down the number one quarterback in this draft. And that's without a doubt, Michael. I think that's a fantastic point. And where the Broncos are at now, at number 9, if they were to trade up to number 1, it'd probably take 3 first-round picks in order to make that deal be done. So when you look at it like that, it makes it seem like, oh, okay, that's a lot more reasonable. A lot of teams do that. And also, you're getting a guy who was the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's been a 2-time Pro Bowler, including twice in the past 2 years. He was on the All-Rookie team. Of course, he won the Heisman. There's so much to like about him. So I want to hear if anyone is in the comment section tuning in live on YouTube. Let me know if you don't want Kyler or if you think 3 first-round picks is too much to give up, because I gotta say, I saw a decent amount on Twitter yesterday of people saying, nah, not really interested in him, and it really surprised me. And so if you don't agree with us, let us know why as well. And speaking of YouTube, thank you guys so much for tuning in live. Hit us with a thumbs up. We really appreciate it. Subscribe and also turn on alerts, because we're going live 5 days a week. You don't want to miss one of our shows. And if you're tuning in live, join us on YouTube. It's the best streaming quality. We really, really appreciate it.
I'll tell you why, by the way, Zach. Recency bias.
That's the past 5 games?
Yeah, and that play. I think people look at the playoff game as well, and like, oh my, like, you know, that interception that he had, and they're like, oh my God, you know, great players screw up from time to time. I'm gonna go old school here. You know, Joe Theismann was the league MVP in 1983, and he had an absolutely catastrophic decision in the Super Bowl when he threw a swing pass to Joe Washington. They got picked off by Jack Squirek for the Raiders, and he waltzed into the end zone. Very good to great players do occasionally screw up. It happens sometimes. Mm-hmm. You know, Patrick Mahomes. Look at Mahomes in the AFC Championship game. Is he a great player? Yes, he is. Did he play probably the worst half of his of his NFL life in that game? Yes, he did. And my guess is he's going to adjust to the kind of looks the Bengals threw at him that he'll probably see again, and we won't see a half like that from him. So just because Kyler Murray has a really bad playoff game and has a really ill-advised decision, I don't think it means all of a sudden you wouldn't want him. After the last 6 years, Zach, how could you not want Kyler Murray on this team? How?
I don't know. I have no idea. And so maybe, Mace, the Broncos will be able to buy low, as Kyler went 1-6 in his past 7 games. It would be crazy if the organization did this, but maybe Cliff says, it was all Kyler. It wasn't me. That's why we stumbled down the stretch.
Okay.
And then they decide to move on from Kyler. Hey, I'm just trying to make a situation pan out. But here's what needs to happen.
They gave up 30 points to the Rams, 30 points to the Lions, then 22 to the Colts and the Cowboys, and then 38 points to the Seahawks, right?
Yep.
There was a lot of other stuff going on that caused them to have that record down the stretch.
Yeah, that's Vance Joseph right there. Maybe he could help send Kyler to the Broncos. But here's why. Yes, it probably is a dream world, but when stuff like this happens, the Broncos need to reach out right away and just try to separate these two groups and try to just blow the Cardinals away with an offer. So, Mace, if you are George Paton and you call the Cardinals, what is the offer you're putting together to try to blow them away right away where they actually have to think about it?
3 ones, a second-round pick, 2 starters.
What starters? Do I get to pick?
I'd say anybody but Pat Surtain is on the table.
Okay, so Javonte Williams and Jerry Jeudy.
Done
Deal.
I'm re-signing Melvin Gordon. I can find another running back in this year's draft. No offense to Javonte Williams, but good running backs, maybe not elite running backs, but good running backs are pretty easy to find. And with Jerry Jeudy, you know what? Okay, I've got Tim Patrick, I've got Cortland Sutton, and we'll go back into the draft, or we'll sign a free agent. Maybe we'll make a play at Marquez Valdez-Scantling as a number 3, something like that.
Yeah,
It's pretty easy. It's not hard. It's not hard to replace with all, again, Jeudy and Williams. No offense to them, it's not hard to replace them when you're talking about a massive quarterback upgrade.
Yeah, no, it's not that hard to replace them. Way harder to replace the quarterback. And to me, anyone's on the table.
Even Pat.
I don't want to get rid of Pat, but yes, even Pat. A great cornerback means nothing if you don't have the quarterback position. And so give me your deal, throw Pat in, and take the other players off, throw Pat in, boom, there's a deal. I mean, that's the type of offer you would need in order to make the Cardinals say, wait, George, let's stay on the phone a little longer and talk about this.
Worst thing they're going to say is no.
Worst thing they're going to say is no. And Mace, I got to get your take on there's more options than just Kyler Murray out there. Who do you want more, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, or Aaron Rodgers? But first, I got to tell you about this awesome product that I just started using, Athletic Greens. Our friends over at Athletic Greens are making such a cool thing. Not only are they packing your fruits, but they're and vegetables, but they're packing all of the probiotics you need into one easy scoop. So it helps with gut health. It really helps your body feel better. I've just been taking it for a week or so, and I feel a lot lighter. My body's feeling a lot better. What you do is you order Athletic Greens, and then when you get it, you put 1 scoop into 8 to 12 ounces of cold water at the beginning of your day. Mix it in, drink it down. It's green, but to me it tastes just a tad bit citrusy. So that's totally good taste for me, and it just gives me the vegetables that I need for the day, all the greens, and it really helps with gut health as well. Like I said, those probiotics, and it's cheaper than your coffee addiction. So get in on Athletic Greens, and you will be feeling much, much better. It has over 7,000 5-star reviews, so you need to check them out. And when you go to athleticgreens.com/Broncos, you'll get 5 travel packs free with your first purchase and 1 year of free supply of immunity supporting vitamin D. So make sure to check them out. Go to athleticgreens.com/Broncos and you'll get the 5 free travel packs and a free 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D.
Yeah, I mean, by the way, this stuff really is something. Mm-hmm. Hey, you've been using it. I've been using it on a daily basis. Even took it down to Mobile with me. That's how much I liked using it. And boy, oh boy, you get older, you start looking for things that kind of keep your system flowing. Well, that's what Athletic Greens will do for you. So check that out. Also check out us at DNVR. Check out becoming a member. Check out the DNVR bar, where we're going to have a watch party for the big game. Actually, what are we calling it? Like the Splendid Cup? The Supreme Cup?
I love it.
In quotes.
Yes. So air quotes, the Supreme Cup. We're going to have a party for that. We're going to have prizes, giveaways, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of fun. Just because the Broncos aren't in the Supreme Cup doesn't mean that you can't have a good time. We're going to have plenty of that down here at the DNVR bar. You can try the club sandwich that I like. You can try the chicken sandwich that RK likes. Of course, if you're a DNVR member, you get a big beer for the price of a smaller beer. So that's one of the perks. Of course, you get discounts on merchandise. You get a free t-shirt when you sign up to become a DNVR member. And of course, you get to read what we're writing. You get to read what I'm going to be writing later on today about Carson Strong and his comeback from the knee injury. I had a conversation with him last week. Going to tell you what he said about his knee and how he thinks he's ready to go. So check that out at thednvr.com. I'll have a piece on Ejiro Evero, who almost certainly is going to be the Broncos' next defensive coordinator. And if you're a subscriber, you can read that and plenty more, not just on the Broncos, but all the Denver area teams: Nuggets, Rockies, Avalanche, CSU Rams, CU Buffs, and of course now we're launching our Rapids coverage with the DNVR Rapids podcast. So check all of that out at thednvr.com and become a member today.
And speaking of the Super Game on Super Sunday, you got to check out our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook, where they are offering hundreds of awesome, fun Super Bowl props. We're going to have some of those included on our Broncos Pick'em later this week, but you can get in on all of the action over at DraftKings Sportsbook. And to celebrate the Super Bowl, they're offering 56-1 odds. How do you get 56-1 odds? Well, you bet $5 on either team to win the Super Bowl. And if they do, you get $280 in free bets. That's 56-1 odds just by signing up over at DraftKings Sportsbook and betting $5 on either team this weekend. And like I said, check out all the super fun props they have for the Super Sunday game, the Super Bowl.
I've got a bonus pick of the week.
Oh, hit me with it.
It's a Clemson 1-point favorite over North Carolina. Really weird tip-off time, 4 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock Eastern down there in upstate South Carolina. North Carolina has a habit of losing and losing big. They lost big to Duke on Saturday. Take the Clemson Tigers to get this done today.
I love it. Go Tigers.
I'm cheering for the Tar Heels. I'm going for some reverse mojo here. I want to lose this bet.
So maybe don't ride with me. I'm not sure how to ride someone else's reverse mojo. But when you sign
pick
up
Clemson.
to get this offer, make sure to use promo code DNVR over at DraftKings Sportsbook. That's promo code DNVR. They're an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 56. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. All right, Mace. There's more options than just Kyler Murray for the Broncos. There's more options than just the quarterbacks in the draft for the Denver Broncos. So my question to you is, who would you want more? Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, or Kyler Murray? This is a thinker.
It's a thinker because I really want to solve this quarterback problem for the long haul.
I got one guy that can solve it for the longest haul.
That's why I'm going Kyler Murray.
Oh ho ho!
I want the shot at getting this right for the next 10 to 15 years. Because Patrick Mahomes is probably going to be around for the next 10 to 15 years. Justin Herbert is going to be around for the next 10 to 15 years, both those cases barring injury. I want to figure that out. And also, I like the idea of Nathaniel Hackett having been around Matt LaFleur, having gotten some of that Shanahan McVay secret sauce. I like the idea of him adapting a scheme to Kyler Murray. And even though Hackett hasn't done it specifically, we know, based on Washington 10 years ago with RG3, that you can take these concepts, adapt them to a quarterback who does not have a traditional skill set, and get outstanding play. And that was RG3 back in 2012 in Washington. And Kyler Murray has more at his disposal skill-wise. He's a much more accurate passer than RG3 was, for one thing. Better leader than RG3 was. So I'm taking that all day. That if I'm given those three possibilities, actually in order for me, it is Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers.
I'm going to disagree with you. And the reason I'm going to disagree is I want a superstar in the building. I don't think Kyler Murray is a superstar yet. I think he has all the tools. He's shown me enough where he absolutely can become that, but I want the guaranteed superstar by giving up all of these picks and all of these resources, and Russell Wilson is a guaranteed superstar. Now, I don't like saying this because I'm missing out on 8 or 9 years of a career by going Russ over Kyler Murray, but there is a point that Kyler Murray, there is a chance that Kyler Murray doesn't develop past what he is. He stays at around just over 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. A very good quarterback, a tier 2 quarterback, but there's no guarantee that he's going to jump into that tier 1 like we talked about. Russell Wilson, tier 1 quarterback, even on a down year last year, 25 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. 5-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. The year before, 40 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. The year before, 31-5. The year before, 35-7. The year before,
a lot of numbers
he
out there
led
today.
the league in touchdowns with 34. I mean, this guy is elite. And the reason I'm taking him over Aaron Rodgers, because people are probably going to say elite. Look at the MVP the past 2 seasons. Well, it's the age. You're going to get Russell Wilson for nearly a decade. Aaron Rodgers is only going to be for a few years. So the thought of getting an elite quarterback is too much to pass up.
So who's your second choice?
It is Kyler. Then it is Kyler.
It's because on my list, when you said like 1, 2, 3, because Russell Wilson should still be a potential 7 to 8 year option, between Kyler and Russ, for me, it was close. The gap was from Russ to Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Because of the short-term nature of it, we're going to stay away from the other stuff, and I'm just going to focus on the career longevity here. That's it.
Yeah. Fair. That's very fair. So now,
But there are other reasons we have discussed and that are known that you might rather have Kyler or Russ in your locker room than Aaron Rodgers.
right now, guys in the comment section and gals, tell me who you want. Who was your number one of those three? And when we think about this, Mason, when we talk about this, are you giving up the same package for all three of these guys? Let's say today George Paton reaches out to the Cardinals and says, "Here's a package," and then it doesn't go through. And then in a month, you talk to the Seahawks and you say, "Here's the package." Do you carry that same package in each conversation, or does it change?
Same package.
Even for Rodgers.
You are getting a two-time the guy who's, as we're going to find out later this week, has won 2 straight MVPs. So he's the best quarterback of the three now, but he also probably has the fewest snaps in front of him. So that's kind of the sliding scale here.
Right.
Why my offer for Kyler Murray would be the same as Aaron Rodgers is because he is a lesser quarterback right now, but he has the higher potential value because of the fact that he could be your quarterback for the next 10 or 15 years.
Yep, and I love this. The comment section can't agree right now, and I think it's a great starting point for a conversation. So you said you'd give up 3 firsts, a second, and 2 starters not named Pat Surtain for Kyler Murray. Is that right? Would you do that same thing for Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
3, man, that's an offer that Green Bay's got to think long and hard about. Yeah. Especially with knowing the drama that Aaron could potentially come with if he does stay. There's no telling that he wouldn't want out next year. And if knowing he has 2 to 4 years left of him, they get 3 first-round picks, including number 9 overall this year, a second-round pick, which I'm sure they would want it to be this year's second-round pick, which would be a high second-round pick, so almost another first-round pick, and Javonte Williams and Jerry Jeudy, or name your players outside of Pat Surtain. That is something the Packers would have to listen to.
Well, here's the thing, and we talk about trading a lot of capital for a player. My friend Frank Schwab of Yahoo wrote today about the Jalen Ramsey trade. When the Jaguars got back 2 first-rounders and a 4th-round pick from the Rams for Jalen Ramsey. Okay? Those 2 first-round picks for the Jaguars, Clavon Chason and Travis Etienne. Chason has 2 sacks in 2 years. Etienne had a Liz Frank injury, missed the entire season.
Yep.
Okay. Etienne, the jury's out, and he could come back from that Liz Frank and be terrific. But Chason looks like he's a first-round bust.
Yep.
31 games played, 2 sacks, right?
That's why I love what the Rams are doing. I love that approach. They're willing to give up the unknown, and it's probably going to be, in the first round, what are you hitting on? 50% of the time at best in terms of a true hit? Well,
and they're low first-round picks, too. Don't forget that.
Exactly, and that's what you're trading when you're the Broncos. To get one of these guys, you know you're trading a really valuable pick at 9. That should turn out to be a stud, just like Pat Surtain was last year. You can still mess that up, though.
With all 3 of these quarterbacks, the Broncos are a playoff team, are they not?
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
The earliest first-round pick. Right. The earliest next year's pick could be as 19. So it's pick 9, no earlier than pick 19, probably in the 20s.
Right.
And then if the team matures, maybe you are talking about kind of like the Rams, it's pick 32.
Yep. Exactly.
Or pick 31.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why it doesn't matter that much. And then you are talking about a good second-round pick this year, and you're talking about a running back who, Javonte Williams, has a great future ahead of him, a fantastic one, but it is a running back position.
There are running backs every year.
Mm-hmm. As the Broncos found out, they got Javonte Williams in the second last year.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that you can find, okay? It's hard to find a quarterback. Yes, it's actually somewhat hard to find a legit lockdown CB1, although I kind of disagree with some of George Paton's methodology on what he said, the comment that we've discussed many times. It's not hard to find a running back. It's not hard to find a wide receiver. It's not even all that hard to find an edge rusher. You can find those guys in middle rounds if you scout well. The hardest things to find are QB, CB1, and then an off-ball linebacker who's great in coverage on tight ends.
Yep.
That's where you start getting into unicorns.
Yep. And if you have the quarterback, you don't have to worry about having all of those unicorns, because a unicorn quarterback makes everyone that much more special. And Mace, you talked about all these things that are hard to find. One thing that is not hard to find is Breckenridge beers. Whether you're in Colorado, whether you're at the DNVR bar, Colorado, or anywhere in the country, you go to Breck Beers Locator and you can find your Breck brew that you're looking for. What's so cool is you can find out exactly what Breck brew you're looking for, where to find that. And of course, the DNVR bar is a great place to get a Breck's or a member-sized Breckenridge beer, and you can't go wrong. This time of year, the highs are in the 50s. You can get a winter heavy hoppy beer, or you can go with the Strawberry Sky. Breckenridge Brewery has you covered regardless of what your taste palette is, so make sure to check them out. They're the official beer of DNVR.
Of course, it's the big game weekend. We talked about it. We got something going on here, but if you want to have something going on at home and you've got want to have pizza for the big game, check out Sexy Pizza. How about 2 16-inch pizzas? Because there's a deal this coming weekend. So it's not just for Super Sunday. It's also on Saturday. So from Saturday, February 12th through Sunday, February 13th, our fans can get 2 16-inch pizzas for $29.99 when ordering online at Sexy Pizza using the promo code Sexy Super Bowl. That's all one word, SEXY SUPERBOWL. So check that out. And you know what? You want to have the perfect weekend. Come down to DNVR Bar Sunday and get that pizza on Saturday. You can have, because then you can have pizza left over for even after the big game as well. What is Sexy Pizza? Of course, we've been telling you about them for the last few months. They provide the pizza for our tailgates before every Bronco home game. They've been in the Denver community for 13 years. They're as local as it gets. With a 12, 16, or 18-inch crust, Sexy Pizza is sure to be the right fit. They've got fixings like wings, salads, pasta, knots, or dessert options. I love that Italian salad they got over there. So check that out. And don't forget to get that discount this weekend. 2 16-inch pizzas for $29.99. Go to Sexy Pizza. I got the URL wrong. My bad. Go to sexy.pizza. It's not .com. It's sexy.pizza and use the promo code Sexy Super Bowl. The offer is available Saturday and Sunday of this weekend, so get in on this. Additional toppings and vegan cheese can be added for extra charge, but you still get that base price of $29.99 for your 2 pizzas over at Sexy Pizza.
And Mace, let's jump into the comment section and talk to the people. We have a super chat first. Let's hit coming in from Jelly. Says, guys, I'm all in for fantasy, but how realistic is this?
Not very realistic. I think the Cardinals are going to try to repair this.
If they would be smart, that's what they would do. But we've seen organizations in the past not be smart. The Green Bay Packers were not smart with Aaron Rodgers. They let it go on way too long where he got so upset with them. And then we saw it last year. It didn't matter what the Houston Texans tried to do. Deshaun Watson was so fed up with them. And one of the first tipping points was when he scrubbed his social media. And that was kind of like, what's going on here? It's probably nothing. And then it blew up. So I agree with you, Mace. I don't expect Kyler Murray to be traded. But I also think that the door is open for something to happen.
Maybe a bonus could be offering him a chance to be center fielder for the Rockies.
Oh, man. Let's go, baby.
He could be the next Bo Jackson, right?
Or maybe that's the tipping point for Russell Wilson to come here. He was drafted by the Rockies. Might as well let him play some center field,
why not?
Too.
Well, he wouldn't play center field. You'd be working him in the infield. But yeah, why not? Hey, you want? Hey, the Rockies aren't going anywhere right now, right?
Yeah.
What harm is there to them by putting Wilson or Kyler Murray out there in the lineup?
Let's do it. That would be awesome. And now let's also jump into the comment section. And how you leave your comments for us to read in the third section of this pod is you go to thednvr.com. At the top of the page, there's a podcast tab. Click on that. Then it'll be a drop-down menu. Click on Broncos podcast. All of our podcasts we've ever had will pop up. Click on the first one. That's our most recent one. Then when you scroll to the bottom and you're part of our family, a comment section will magically appear. Drop your comment there. We'll read them on the next day. So, Mace, let's dive in and do that for the people that have left their comments. First one coming in from Bronc Oiler says, I usually like to keep things Broncos focused, but I just want to take a moment to talk about the complete farce that is the Las Vegas Raiders. I remember RK commenting a while back that they'll move on from a deserving Riz Bisaccia for some flashy idiot, and by goodness, did they outdo themselves by hiring Josh frickin' McDaniels. Now to hear that Tom McMahon is their special teams coordinator is just the cherry on top. stop. Quick, somebody let them know Pat Shurmur is available.
You know what? I'm not sure that Josh McDaniels is ever going to win a Super Bowl in Las Vegas, but I think his tenure with the Raiders is going to be much better than his tenure with the Broncos.
Oh, boy, it'd be hard for it to be worse. So I, unfortunately, agree with you on that point.
I think he did learn some things.
And he's 10 years older.
Yes. I mean, and certainly one person who kind of probably taught him what to learn from the first tenure, Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Those 5 years in Cleveland in the 1990s, he ruffled a lot of feathers. They had one playoff appearance, 4 losing seasons, and he kind of learned what not to do. Believe it or not, the New England version of Belichick is softer, more empathetic, better listener than the one who existed in Cleveland. And I think you're going to see something similar for Josh McDaniels with the Raiders. I don't know. I don't think he's going to have a Belichickian-like run of success, winning six Super Bowls. Pardon me.
That would be a nightmare.
But I think it's going to be better, and I think people who are hoping for a complete meltdown by the Raiders with Josh McDaniels are probably going to be disappointed. That being said, Tom McMahon going to the Raiders, I think Tom's a great person, but he wasn't a good special teams coach here. So, hey, you know.
Josh has got someone to fall on the sword for him when he wants it.
By the way, speaking of the Raiders special teams coaches, do you think Green Bay hiring Rich Bisaccia is a signal to Aaron Rodgers that, hey, we're still all in?
Potentially.
I think it definitely is.
I also think they did a great job in landing a very good coach, regardless of special teams or not.
But the thing is, coaching hires, they're not subject to salary cap, obviously.
Right.
So that shows, I think that was a message to Aaron Rodgers that we will do whatever it takes. That I would imagine that we're going to learn that Rich Bisaccia is the highest paid special teams coach in football. Probably by some margin, going to Green Bay. That literally they'll probably tell him, look, we lost that game because of a punt block. That was the difference-making play, a punt block at the end. Special teams melted down in that game.
Yep.
So we went and got the best special teams coach that money could buy.
Yep, exactly. I hope you're wrong, though, because that would mean the Raiders are good, and it would mean that the Aaron Rodgers not going anywhere.
But you know that Brian Gutekunst is going to point that out. And you know that Aaron Rodgers probably noticed.
Yeah.
When they made that hire.
They'll make it very obvious to him. Yeah. Next one from Kendall Hinton, Hall of Famer. Mace rooting for Bengals, saying when was the last time that said he had a sports-related win? I'm sorry. Is that my fault? Did I do that? I forgot the part where those sports teams sucking was my problem. Let's go Rams, 50-0 shutout. I'm just kidding. I have empathy. And in all seriousness, I'm just pumped for the Super Bowl and seeing both teams.
You know, LA's got the Lakers. The Dodgers just won.
But
they got palm trees and sunshine.
Of course,
and the beach. What does Cincinnati have? Chili.
You're never chili on spaghetti. You're never cheering for Los Angeles and the Lakers fans in the Los Angeles community to win. What you're cheering for is you're cheering for Von Miller. First and foremost, you're cheering for Matthew Stafford, who was a Detroit Lion for so many years. You're cheering for Sean McVay, who hasn't won. I'm not cheering for the Lakers fans to be happy. I'm cheering for those individuals on the team to be happy.
Yeah, I mean, LA needs another Super Bowl like the rest of us need another or a Super Bowl win. The rest of us need a pimple. I mean, okay.
Super chat coming in from Cody W. says, Denver for spring break, might swing by the bar. You got to swing by the bar, Cody. Love to hear that. That'll be just in time for either some great weather or a massive snowstorm. We'll have to see, but love to hear that, Cody. Next one from the Danimal says, I have 2 very important things for Broncos country. First off, our coach keeping original Beastie Boys and Dre on vinyl. He's the real deal. Next stop, Lombardi Town. Second, our beloved former coach McDaniels just hired McMahon as a special team coach. The jokes almost write themselves at this point. At least we can count on the AFC West only being a 3-horse race this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't count on that.
I'm going to love dunking on them until they tell me not to.
Yeah.
Until they prove me otherwise.
Yeah. If McDaniels has learned, it's going to be different. And for one thing, he's got
being too sensible.
I know. Well, he's got a good quarterback. I mean, as Vic Fangio said, hey, everybody else in the division has has really good quarterbacks.
Yeah, it does scare
Carr's
me
a really good quarterback.
What McDaniels could do with Carr.
Yeah, it is. And
Unless he runs him out of town because he wants to. Who's the backup in New England right now? No, Mariota's with the Raiders.
No, the backup is God, did they bring
Patriots?
Did they bring Hoyer back at some point?
It may be Hoyer or Henney or something. Anyways, maybe Josh McDaniels is going to do what he did with Jay Cutler and run him out of town for a Patriots backup. Maybe he goes after Cam Newton. He says, I want Cam Newton over Derek Carr, trades Derek Carr to, let's say, the Chicago Bears, the Detroit Lions, something. There we go.
Yeah, it's Brian Hoyer and Jarrett Stidham.
There we go. Jarrett Stidham. He wants Jarrett Stidham.
Oh, here's something, though.
Josh McDaniels wants Jarrett Stidham.
What if McDaniels said... Derek Carr and a first-round pick for Mac Jones.
Derek Carr in a first-round... Oh, interesting. I think Bill would say no.
I think he would, too.
Yeah. I love that, though. I love it. Well, I don't want Mac in this division, so no. No, I don't want it.
Because you'd have to cheer against him.
Exactly.
He's your boy.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's hard enough him being in the AFC with the Patriots, but the Raiders, that'd be bad. Yeah. Next one from Melbourne Broncos says, hi, guys. Just our schedule for next season. Our roster from this season might win 11 games. Imagine if we get Rodgers or Wilson. Dare to dream, boys. Cheers. I absolutely love it.
I'd say if they get Kyler Murray, let's just throw that instance at the topic of the pod today. If they get Kyler Murray, I think you've penciled the Broncos in for 11 wins then, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Vash the Man says, my boys, what is up? Just wanted to tell you guys the update on our team colors. The results are in, and drum roll, please. The Broncos do have different colors than the Bears. The Bears' colors are darker, and the Broncos are more vibrant, but not by much, but they are different. As always, thanks for the pod. Peace, love, and chicken grease. I'm out. P.S. You don't have to read this on the pod. Just want to put this in. Well, then we won't be reading it on the pod.
Yeah, it was just the colors. Broncos orange is autumn blaze, and the blue is called Enchanted Navy. The Bears blue is called Royal Navy, and the orange is called Vibrant Orange. Okay, so they're both navy.
A different style
but they're
of navy.
both navy blue.
Yeah.
And that's the general point. What happened around this league in the 1990s and 2000s, the infection and spread of navy blue. The Patriots went from royal blue to navy blue. The Seahawks went from royal blue to kind of a faded blue to navy blue. The Broncos went from a lighter shade of blue to navy blue. There's too much navy. So go back to the old blue and be freaking different.
Sure.
Navy is just meh.
Yeah. The
Right.
uniform debate isn't going to really get me jazzed.
The Texans are navy. There's all these teams are navy. The Cowboys have a navy blue jersey.
Go baby blue. Go light blue. Let's do it.
I mean, one thing I like about the Rams is that when they changed back, they went to royal blue from the navy that they had in St. Louis. That was a positive. I want to see the Broncos do the same thing. Go back to the lighter shade of blue.
I love it. Next one from Squeaky Bum Time. Hey, fellas, loving the show. How high on the list of needs is a center? I'm not sold on Kush. He's been one of the worst centers in the league. Hopefully he makes the jump in his third year.
I'd say relatively low because potentially you could move Quinn Miners over, or you could move Graham Glasgow, who restructured over. And that may actually make sense if you want to move on from Cushenberry, is to move Glasgow to center, and then your starting guards are Miners and Dalton Reisner.
I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see Graham Glasgow slide over and be the starting center.
Yeah, I don't think he restructured to be a swing interior backup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next one from Broncos Only says, at the end of the pod yesterday, it came up that the Broncos didn't send a single player to the Pro Bowl in 40-plus years. I guess we don't have any star players right now. Is George Payton the biggest star in the organization right now? If the Pro Bowl named GMs, would Payton have been selected this year?
No,
because he was on a 7-10 team.
Right, exactly.
And certainly an executive of the year is not going to be on a losing team.
It's more likely to be Les Snead for pulling off the trade for Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
And the other trades that have helped bolster the Rams, even though you're basically putting it on a credit card, but you can't argue with the results. They are in the Super Bowl.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. You can't argue with that. Maybe even you go to the Cincinnati Bengals. And I mean, it's just looking at two Super Bowl teams, but what they've done there has been very impressive.
That means you're giving the Executive of the Year, or GM Pro Bowl, to Mike Brown, age 86. Even though he has handed off some of the reins, he is still the Bengals owner and general manager.
That is wild. He's still
yes,
the GM.
he has done a good. He and the people under him, Duke Tobin in particular, have done a really good job.
They have.
Can't argue with the results.
Nope. Jamar Chase has been fantastic.
And the thing is, a lot of us question the pick of Chase because you need to protect Joe Burrow. Well, here it is. They now only have one more game to get through to keep Joe Burrow upright. And then I think you're going to see the Bengals, their 2022 offseason focus is going to be O-line, O-line, O-line.
As it should be.
Right.
You hope they don't get fooled by that like the Colts did with Andrew Luck and said, we don't need to protect him.
But give them credit for realizing that a great receiver who already had chemistry with their quarterback was invaluable. Because that's what made the difference. Jamar Chase, a truly great player, but he and Joe Burrow weren't starting here. They were starting here.
Reminds me of a conversation we may be having in a month about Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. Boy, wouldn't that be fun.
Yeah, that would.
Next one from M. Chubb says, no trolling today, fellas. I just wanted to get your read on Cincinnati chili. I had someone describe it to me as sugary noodles or sugary chili over noodles. Seems like vile from someone who's lived for a while in Pueblo. Thoughts? Might consider rooting for LA if this trend continues.
It's not chili like people around here know it.
Well, I've never had it, so explain it.
You ever have Greek spaghetti?
No.
Okay, fine.
Don't even know what that is.
All right. Well, that's the kind of the inspiration for Cincinnati chili. And in fact, it was invented by Greek immigrants.
Okay.
And thus it's, you know how Italian spaghetti, you have the meat sauce, but it's the marinara, right?
Right.
In this case, the meat is in more of a brown sauce.
Okay.
And then you have the cinnamon. You have actually a lot of recipes call for a little hint of chocolate as well as some red pepper. And then you just think of it like chili spaghetti.
Okay.
And then you have the noodles. I use angel hair pasta. I actually made Cincinnati chili last month or back in December. And when the Bengals came in, I said, I want some Cincinnati chili. So I made it myself.
So it has the Mace approval.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's
okay,
tremendous.
so that's the way to look at it. It's not chili over spaghetti. It's a spaghetti, and the sauce is just a little more chocolatey and sweet than a normal marinara.
Exactly, and then
okay, it sounds a little better. I'm still not buying
instead
the
of Parmesan, you're putting cheddar cheese, and if you want to do it right, you want to get a block of cheddar cheese and shred it yourself, and then you're putting onions on it. If you want to go full 5-way, you'll get some kidney beans as well. I go no beans. I go noodles, the meat, the onions, and the cheddar cheese. So I go 4-way.
Interesting. I love it, Maze. Next one from Peyton Manning YT. My boys, what's good? There was recently a rumor that the Bears' new head coach and GM combo don't like scrambling quarterbacks and might move on from Fields and look for a pocket passer in the draft. With the talent of the class being nothing compared to last year, do you think trading 9 for Fields would be a fair investment? In my opinion, Fields would easily be the best quarterback in this class. Thoughts? Thanks. Keep up the good work.
Okay, how can the Bears' new GM, who came from Kansas City, not like a scrambling quarterback?
I have this.
This sounds made up. I'm sorry.
It doesn't seem like this could happen where they would hire a coach and GM who said, "Yeah, we don't like your young quarterback who you just traded 2 first-round picks."
And
for.
Every indication is that Poles really likes Justin Fields, and that's why he took the GM job.
Yeah, I don't think they're moving on from him. But let's say they are. Do you think number 9 would get it done?
I'd hope so. I'd try.
I think it may take a little more because they gave up 2 first-round picks to get him. And it's an interesting conversation, man. I'd love it if he's thrown in the mix too. Let's throw him in.
But realistically, no. I'm sorry. That rumor smells like complete BS.
It smells like Cincinnati chili.
Hey.
Looks like it too, probably. And final one coming in from Bronco and SF. I'm sure it doesn't look like yours, Mace. I'm sure yours is great.
Thank you.
It says, so much hope for getting a quarterback. After passing on a quarterback last year, my heart can't handle us missing again this year. Please, George, get a guy this year. Aaron, Russ, or your guy in the draft. Cough, Malik. Cough, cough.
Yeah. Do you think this fan base trusts George Payton and Nathaniel Hackett enough to where if they said, Kenny Pickett is our guy, that people will be all in with for Kenny Pickett?
Yes, I think George Payton has built enough goodwill, and the unknown of Nathaniel Hackett leaves some goodwill there, but it would quickly go away if there's no flash from Kenny Pickett halfway through the year.
I'm just saying that because seems like the early indications are that Kenny Pickett is thought of well in that building. And thought of well by a lot of teams.
And I think people would be okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be something new. And Kenny Pickett would have a leash as well.
Yes.
And
he's accurate.
He's accurate. He's smart.
He's intelligent and tough.
Yep. And it's just exactly what Nathaniel Hackett's looking for, isn't it? Isn't it? And if you eat some Cincinnati chili, you're going to want to make sure to check out our friends over at Green Mountain Dental to get your teeth all cleaned up from that sugary deliciousness that is the chili. And
it's not that much sugar in it. And in fact, the cocoa that you put in it doesn't have extra sugar in it.
Okay, so it's more so just the cacao than the sugar.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. Well, regardless, whatever you eat, you're going to want to get your teeth cleaned from our friends over at Green Mountain Dental. And if you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam, they'll hook you up with a free Sonicare toothbrush. They're only a 15-minute drive from downtown Denver, and they're a long-time partner of ours. We support them, they support us, and they are fantastic people over there. So there's no better place to go than our friends over at Green Mountain Dental twice a year to get your teeth taken care of. And remember, schedule that cleaning, x-ray, and exam, and you'll get set up with a free Sonicare toothbrush. But for Andrew Mason, I'm Zach Stevens. That'll do it for us today. Please hit us with a like on your way out, subscribe, turn on alerts, and thank you all so much for rolling with us on the DNVR Broncos podcast. We'll be back with you tomorrow to talk about another very juicy conversation. We'll see you then. Have a terrific Tuesday.